Okay, guys, let's see if I can't teach a lesson through this screencasting. Um, so I just wanted to give you guys a quick lesson on how to organize your argument for our argumentative essay. So remember, we're trying to argue what the most prevalent theme in Goodwill Hunting is. So first things first, we have to start off with the thesis statement. And remember, the thesis statement is a clear claim and 3 supporting reasons. So this should be mostly review for you guys, but let's say that I believe the theme that is most prevalent in the film Good Will Hunting is the idea that even an infinite amount of talent and intelligence means nothing without a clear direction. Okay, so that is my claim. I'm claiming that that is the most prevalent theme in Goodwill Hunting. So the next step is to come up with 3 supporting reasons as to why I believe that. Okay, now, so the first supporting reason, let's see, let's go number 1. Really, the whole film is about Will's journey in finding a direction in life, not necessarily about Will's journey in finding his intelligence. Okay. Remember, this is just a bit of an idea organizer, so you don't have to go into too crazy of detail here. A second reason could be we see Professor Lambeau is used in the film as an example of someone with high intelligence, like Will, but no direction. I'm going to argue that because he is often defined by his Fields Medal, which is an accomplishment in his past, not his future. And the third reason I would argue is the fact that Will's final gift from Chucky, good old Chucky, and his friends is a car. Okay, he spends the whole movie being driven around by Chucky, and by the end of the movie, he's finally able to find his own direction by having his own car. Okay. Oh, what's going on here? All right. So let's actually turn this into a thesis statement. Now, for us to be able to incorporate all of this, all these ideas, it's gonna be like a paragraph if we don't narrow this down a little bit more. So let's start with, well, your clear claim has to be there. So let's start with that. So the theme is the theme that is, actually, let's just do this. Just copy and paste. I don't need to retype all this because we're just moving this right over. Do that. And then now we just have to summarize the 3 points that we have here. Okay. Actually, the film conveys this theme throughout Will's journey. Okay. So that is the summarized version of the first point. Okay. Lambeau's depiction of someone who is stuck in the past, okay, and that is the summary of the second point. And the final scene of Will driving away in a car given to him by his friends. Okay, so that is our thesis statement. The theme that is most prevalent in the film Good Will Hunting is the idea that even an infinite amount of talent and intelligence means nothing without a clear direction. The film conveys this theme throughout Will's journey, with Lambeau's depiction of someone who is stuck in the past, and the final scene of Will driving away in a car given to him by his friends. Okay, now your thesis statement doesn't really need to explain everything about your argument. Really, it just needs to kind of give a roadmap as to what you're going to be talking about in the whole paper. So let's do an example of actually filling out one of these reasons. Let's do reason 2, just because personally I think that's the most fun one to explore. So all you need to do for that reason 2 is, if you feel like you have it well written out here, all you need to do is just move it over here, okay? You don't need to spend too much time just trying to figure out how to rewrite it, okay? This is a summary. So I'm going to try and provide some evidence to prove that Professor Lambeau is used in the film as an example of someone with high intelligence but no direction. Okay, an example of someone example of someone that Will should not try and be like. If that makes sense. Okay. So let's see. Let's go into it. So the first evidence to support reason number 2 is the fact that throughout the film, the Fields Medal is emphasized over and over again. Okay, so I'm not using a specific scene here to really prove my point. I'm going to use the whole film and the number of times that it's been reiterated over and over how important the Fields Medal is. Okay. This emphasis is done to the point where most people watching the film for the first time will go from not knowing what a Fields Medal is to knowing what it is, why it is important, and how often it is given out. So I'm really just using logic here, okay? So the movie really points out the significance of the Fields Medal, and by the end of it, people who didn't know what it was before know literally everything about it, okay? Let's see, and let's connect it back to our argument. So Professor Lambeau spends the rest of the movie being defined by the Fields Medal, by those around him, and by his own actions. Okay? So that's my evidence 1, just the whole film. I'm saying that the Fields Medal is used over and over. And the second evidence in the movie to support reason number 2 comes from the bar lunch scene where Sean and Professor Lambeau sits down to talk about Will's future. So in this case, I'm going to use an actually, like, a specific scene. I think it's somewhere, I have it written down here somewhere. It's going to be at like 1:14:35 to like 1:17:28. Okay, actually I have it pulled up, but okay. So they're discussing Will's future, and there's pieces of dialogue that kind of give away Professor Lambeau's perspective in this matter. So the two intellectuals get into a heated debate about Will's future. Professor Lambeau makes it very clear in this scene what is most important to him, which is recognition. Okay, now I'm going to explain why through this writing here. Okay, he argues that he has done nothing worthwhile because of the fact that he is not as recognizable as Einstein. Okay, which arguably is not true. There's plenty of scientists out there who have contributed just as much to the world as Einstein has had, but they're not as famous. Okay. Later on, though. Later on, let's see. Later on, in the argument, Professor Lambeau brings up the only physical manifestation of recognition he has, which is the field medal. The field medal. Professor Lambeau exclaims that. So we're going to bring in a quote just to really drive the point home. I was doing advanced mathematics when I was 18, and it still took me over 20 years to do something worthy of a Fields Medal. Okay, so really his perspective is that he spent 20 years of his life trying to make up for trying to justify him receiving that medal. So let's wrap this all up. Professors Lambeau's obsession with his past demonstrates his lack of forward direction. Okay, man, there's a lot of typos here. So I'll fix those. Okay, and then just to help me mark it, if you could just actually write down the specific timestamps from the scene, just like that, like I've done here, that would be awesome, so that I can watch back the actual scene and see if you're, quoting things correctly, or if your logic follows properly. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Feel free to text me or message me if you guys have any questions as to how I want this done. And I'll actually probably leave this up. I'll post what I've written down here somewhere on Google Classroom so you can actually look through it on your own time as well.